The first thing Lily Bennett noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind that city people dream about when they imagine country life. This silence felt different, wide, lonely, and honest. It stretched across the rolling fields surrounding the farmhouse and settled deep inside her chest. She stood beside her suitcase at the end of a gravel driveway, staring at the weathered white house she had seen only in photographs. This was not how she had imagined the beginning. 3 months earlier, after a painful divorce and the loss of her corporate job in Chicago, Lily had signed up for an online program that connected struggling farms with people looking for a fresh start. She wanted purpose. She wanted healing. Most of all, she wanted to believe that life still had surprises worth chasing. One profile had immediately caught her attention. Ethan Harper, 40 years old, farmer, widower. The photograph showed a tall man standing beside a red barn, smiling shyly at the camera. There was something gentle about his eyes. Their messages had been brief but friendly. He had written about sunrises over cornfields. She had written about learning to slow down. Neither of them had mentioned the assumptions they were making. Lily assumed Ethan would be a charming gentleman farmer straight out of a movie. Ethan assumed Lily knew how to cook. Both were about to be disappointed. The farmhouse door opened. A broad-shouldered man stepped onto the porch. His boots were muddy. His flannel shirt was stained. His dark hair looked as though he had cut it himself, with little concern for appearances. He wasn't ugly. Far from it. But he definitely wasn't the polished country gentleman Lily had imagined. Ethan stopped several feet away. His eyes landed on her luggage, then on her expensive coat, then back on her. "You really came?" Lily forced a smile. "I really came." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Ethan asked the question that would change everything. "You can cook, right?" Lily blinked. "Excuse me?" "You said you wanted to help around the farm." "Yes." "And you can cook?" She hesitated. "Define cook?" His face fell. "Oh, no." An hour later, they sat across from each other at the kitchen, table eating burned grilled cheese sandwiches. The smoke detector had gone off twice. The dog had stolen half a sandwich. And somehow, Lily had nearly set a dish towel on fire. Ethan rubbed his forehead. "This is going to be a long season." Lily laughed despite herself. "You're not exactly what I expected either." That earned a reluctant smile. For the first time, the tension eased. The weeks that followed were awkward. Lily knew nothing about farming. Nothing about tractors. Nothing about livestock. Nothing about preserving vegetables. The first time she tried collecting eggs, a chicken chased her across the yard. The second time she fell into a mud puddle. The third time she cried from frustration. She wasn't used to failing. In her old life, she had managed million-dollar accounts. People listened when she spoke. Problems were solved with emails and meetings. Out here, none of that mattered. A tomato plant didn't care about her resume. A stubborn goat wasn't impressed by corporate achievements. One evening, she sat alone on the porch, fighting tears. Maybe she had made a mistake coming here. Maybe she didn't belong anywhere anymore. The screen door creaked open. Ethan stepped outside carrying 2 mugs of coffee. He handed one to her. "You worked hard today." "I accomplished absolutely nothing." "You kept trying." "That's not the same thing." Ethan looked toward the fields. "You know what my wife used to say?" Lily stayed quiet. "She said people are like seeds." A shadow crossed his face. "They don't grow the moment they're planted." Lily realized it was the first time he had mentioned his late wife. "What happened?" she asked softly. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke. "Cancer." Just one word. Yet it carried years of pain. "She fought for 3 years." Lily felt her heart ache. "I'm sorry." "So am I." The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable. It felt human, real. That night, something shifted between them. Not romance? Not yet. Trust. As summer deepened, they became an unlikely team. Lily discovered she was surprisingly good at organizing. She created schedules, tracked expenses, modernized farm records, found new customers through social media. Within weeks, sales increased. Ethan couldn't believe it. Meanwhile, he taught her everything he knew about the land. How to spot storms before they arrived. How to recognize healthy soil. How to appreciate quiet moments. For the first time in years, both of them felt useful again. Then came the drought. Rain stopped falling. The fields turned brown. The crops struggled. Every farmer in the county worried. One afternoon, Ethan stood in the middle of his cornfield staring at plants. That should have been thriving. Instead, they were dying. Lily watched him from a distance. The weight on his shoulders seemed unbearable. That night, she overheard a phone conversation. The bank, loans, deadlines, financial trouble. When Ethan hung up, his face looked defeated. For the first time since she had arrived, he looked afraid. The next morning, Lily made a decision. Without telling him, she contacted everyone she knew. Former co-workers, friends, business contacts, college classmates. She created an online campaign explaining the farm's situation. She posted photographs, videos, stories about local agriculture, about family farms struggling to survive, about a hardworking man trying to save land that had belonged to his family for generations. She expected a few donations, maybe enough to help. She was wrong. The response exploded. Thousands of people shared the campaign. Orders poured in from across the country. People wanted produce, homemade goods, gift baskets, anything that would help. Within 2 weeks, the farm received more support than Ethan thought possible. When he finally discovered what Lily had done, he stared at her in disbelief. "You did all this?" She shrugged. "You needed help." "I never asked." "You shouldn't have to." His eyes glistened. For a moment, he couldn't speak. Then he whispered, "Thank you." But life had one more challenge waiting. Late one evening, as a thunderstorm finally rolled across the horizon, Ethan received a phone call. His elderly neighbor, Mr. Dawson, had collapsed. The nearest ambulance was delayed because of flooding. Without hesitation, Ethan grabbed his truck keys. Lily climbed in beside him. Rain hammered the windshield as they raced through the storm. When they arrived, they found Mr. Dawson unconscious. For nearly 40 minutes, they stayed with him, comforting him, keeping him awake whenever he regained consciousness, refusing to leave him alone. By the time paramedics arrived, Mr. Dawson was stable. Weeks later, he would tell everyone that those two had saved his life. The experience changed Lily. As she sat beside Ethan on the drive home that night, she realized something important. The strongest people weren't the ones who never struggled. They were the ones who kept showing up for others despite their own pain. That was who Ethan was. And somewhere along the way, it was who she had become too. Autumn arrived, painted in gold and crimson. The harvest was successful. The farm survived. More than survived, it flourished. One evening, the community gathered for a celebration in the barn. Families laughed. Children played. Music filled the air. At sunset, Ethan found Lily standing outside watching the sky. "You remember the first thing I asked you?" he said. She laughed. "You can cook, right?" He groaned. "I can't believe I actually said that." "You were pretty disappointed. To be fair, you almost burned down my kitchen. Twice." They both laughed. Then Ethan became serious. "You know, I thought I needed someone who could cook." Lily raised an eyebrow. "And?" "I was wrong." The evening breeze stirred around them. "I needed someone who could care." Her smile softened. "Ethan, you showed up when things were falling apart." His voice thickened with emotion. "You helped save this farm. You saved me too." Tears filled Lily's eyes. Not because of romance, not because of grand declarations, because she understood exactly what he meant. Before coming here, both of them had been lost. Both had been carrying wounds they thought would never heal. Yet healing hadn't come through miracles. It had come through kindness, through friendship, through showing up day after day, through helping another human being without expecting anything in return. Months earlier, she had arrived expecting a gentleman farmer. He had expected someone who could cook. Instead, they found something neither had been searching for. A reminder that the best people in our lives rarely arrive in the packages we imagine. Sometimes they show up covered in mud. Sometimes they burn grilled cheese sandwiches. Sometimes they carry broken hearts. But when compassion meets compassion, extraordinary things happen. As the sun disappeared beyond the fields, Ethan and Lily stood side by side watching the farm glow beneath the fading light. The future remained uncertain. Life always would be. Yet for the first time in a very long time, neither of them felt alone. And in the end, that was worth more than perfect expectations, more than successful harvests, and certainly more than knowing how to cook. Because the most beautiful harvest of all is not found in fields. It is found in the hearts of people who choose kindness when they could choose otherwise, and in doing so, help each other grow,